All right, here we go. Everybody say hi to Alyssa. There's a good chance that you probably don't know Alyssa. She's fairly new into the public world. And my good friend Pete Weller and Amy introduced Alyssa to what's going on. And Alyssa, a little over a year ago, you and I had a conversation, and you've been implementing 50-25-1 on the business sector, and you're helping me go through and film So You Want to Be a Coach.
Yep.
And we're going through all the topics, and we thought that we'd come on here and talk about this topic, and it's called the Hummingbird Effect. And we talk a lot about math of relationships. And when I said Hummingbird Effect, you were like, "What's that?" And no,
exactly.
It's not.
Oh, the flies, Hank! It's ridiculous.
Her and her husband live on a cattle ranch, right?
Yep. And I swear, like, my kids open the door and the fly's like, "Yeah, I'm coming in." Awful.
So the Hummingbird Effect, and actually, I might be getting this tattoo tomorrow. I haven't decided if we're going to do this, or anyways, I digress. So the Hummingbird Effect is this. What is the math around our relationships? And social media has allowed us to be so accessible. And one of my standards is subtraction leads to multiplication. One of my standards too is be careful surrounding yourself with, and I'm going to use the word needy, and as my therapist would say, exaggerate it. So we know the math around 36 to life, and we say 36 A's, 96 B's. And so when we look at that, that's about 120 relationships. So let's just look at communication. If you're in my world, you know my phone is turned off. Probably frustrating for my wife at times. Like, I don't answer my phone. I don't really look at text. It's not a priority. And people know, if you want me, message me on Facebook. Now, after any typical call, I might have 3, 4, 5 messages in a limited amount of time to do that. So let's do the math real quick. Alyssa, where would you place yourself, knowing our categories A, B, and C? Where would you place yourself into the hierarchy of labeling? Pop quiz.
Of Hank's world?
Of Hank's world.
Teetering C and B.
I would say you're teetering between a B and A, because now you're stepping into more of an active role in what we're building out. So I would say, because we don't have the time on task, and we just looked, my last conversation with you was a year ago, and I don't jump into doing anything with anybody until they've been around for a year. So you don't have enough time on task to be an official A. However, we're showing up because, one, you've been vetted by someone who is an A+ in my life, and they spoke of you. So I do have my relationships vouch for other people, because I have a tendency of overappraising people and wanting to see the best in them and overlooking things that maybe I don't want to necessarily overlook. So with Pete and Amy vouching for you, you going and implementing it, and your actions speaking louder than your words, you were kind of the perfect fit to come in and do So You Want to Be a Coach, because I didn't want it specifically just to real estate. So that goes to the Hummingbird Effect. We've established that we're treating you as an A. However, you haven't quite broken into those top 36. So if the top 36, if one of the things with an A is time on task. So imagine you have 36 A's, and every one of them message you one time a day. That's 36 messages. Now let's go to the other end of the extreme. You have 36 A's, and they message you 10 times during the day. Well, all of a sudden, that's 360 messages, and that's the Hummingbird Effect, is where when a hummingbird comes into a giraffe and thinks it's a flower, what it does is it pecks, and then it pecks, and then it pecks, and then it pecks, and then it pecks, and it pecks. And a hummingbird can actually bring a giraffe down by that constant coming in there and drilling for the nectar. What do hummingbirds go for in a flower?
Yeah, nectar, I think.
So when we're looking at this, and frankly, this has actually caused some heartache in my world. And this is where you need to make a decision on, what are you going to be great at, and what are you going to suck at? People that run with me know that I'm very clear. What comes first in my world, Alyssa?
Family.
Family, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Second comes business. Everything else, I'm probably not going to be great at. So my friends, if somebody's a friend and they need to message me 10 times a day, chances are it's not a sustainable relationship based on where I'm at in my current capacity of life. Because when you do the math around, I've got 3 kids, I've got a wife that I care about deeply, I've got multiple businesses. When I look at everything that's going on, I can't have, hey, Hank, I just took a dump. And it's not that I don't care. The math just doesn't work. And it starts to suck the freaking life out of me if you let me know everything that's going on in your life. And then it's like, well, Hank, you're not a very good friend if I have to think about everything that I'm sending to you. And it's like, God, like, no.
Yep. But you know what enabled that was the social media status updates. I'm taking a shower. I'm going to town. So now everybody thinks they have to share every second of their lives with somebody.
And it also makes me sad too, because I don't want my friends to think that they can't share things with me.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where I think we were talking about it on a video that we were filming for So You Want to Be a Coach, of boundaries and standards and principles. And this is where we have to do the common sense math and fight back for time is, hey, you know what? I'm setting up boundaries. Alyssa, you are a coaching client that's helping me do a program. If you message me 20 times outside of what we're doing in this, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's just there's no reason that there needs to be that much back and forth, because the math doesn't work. And that's where you need to be concerned. If someone's messaging you that much, have you broken your boundaries? And I was talking to my wife when we talked about this earlier. She was in the bath and I was I'm going to say commiserating. I seek a lot of counsel from my wife, and she goes, you dummy, you dropped your boundaries. Because you do family well, you do business really well, you've allowed people to cross from that business thing into the friend zone. And there's those viewed lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, and it's a fine line. And sometimes it sucks because there isn't anybody that I coach that I don't like, because otherwise I wouldn't coach them.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes you don't know where those limits are. And this is where, if you don't address it, here's what happens. You push the beach ball under the water and then it pops up. And it's not fun when it pops up, because then you're reacting, you're coming from an emotional standpoint. And I had a great wealth determiner in my life where it happened, and it wasn't, and I truly feel bad around how I handle a lot of that situation, but it was one of those things where it was the hummingbird, and it just kept happening and happening and happening and happening, where it finally got to the point where I'm like, enough, I can't do it.
Been there.
Have you been there? And you feel bad, because it's not like they're necessarily doing anything wrong. It's just not a sustainable relationship. And this is where you need to be honest with yourself. If anybody messages me more than my wife, it's not okay. Period.
Yep.
Period. And you're seeing me get a little bit excited here, because one of the things that we do is we teach people how to treat us. And just because you say, hey, I don't mean to be a dick, and then you put a comma, doesn't mean that you're not being a dick. Stop saying, hey, I don't mean to be a dick. If you're going to be a dick, just be a dick. Hey, I know it's after 5 o'clock, so don't read this till after 5 o'clock. No, just don't freaking message me after 5 o'clock. Don't. Don't, because I see it. And it's that hummingbird effect. And the reality is, I love to work. Family is tough for me. So when you keep messaging me after 5 o'clock and say, well, don't do this, know that I'm a workaholic. And my kids are probably driving me absolutely bonkers, and I'm reading it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And Alyssa, here's where I struggle a little bit, because there's probably people watching this and they're questioning, hey, is that me? Well, go back and look. How many times have you messaged me in the last week? Do the math. Okay, so if you've messaged me 25 times and you consider yourself an A, well, 25 times 36. If we're looking to go do bigger and better things, that math doesn't work, because if you're an A for me, you're a priority, which means every time you message me, it's important to me and it means something to me. What you're doing is you're taking that energy, and it's not going to allow us to multiply. If you're running with me and you're an A, you want a bigger life. You want an exceptional life. You want an exceptional family life. You want an exceptional business life. And what that means is you might need to get some of that other stuff from somebody else, because it might not be me.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm worked up. I'm worked up.
I think that's why it's so important to keep personal, and professional. And
which is tough, especially with what we teach, because we teach to relationships, and
yes.
This is where it gets a little bit skewed, and this is where we need the realities of it. There are friendships for a reason. There's friendships for a season, and then there's friendships for life. And then you also look at what we're doing, and you look at the number of people that filter into our worlds. The reality is we get deep with people real quick, meaning we have conversations with people that they might not have ever had. So there ends up being that bond. And when you look at the math of what we're doing of transforming lives, we probably have deeper conversations in 1 month than the average human being will have in their whole lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And again, this is where I think it's an important topic, because I am very clear. I'm going to rock it out with my family. I'm going to be awesome at business. And so if you're coming to me for business and you're also looking for a best friend, know that you're probably going to be disappointed, because I have boundaries, and I'm raising those boundaries because what I want to do to help transform people and be the ripple effect can't have you be a hummingbird in my life.
Yep.
That just gave me clarity. I can't have hummingbirds in my life. I just can't. Whew. And again, here's the thing is, I'm fully okay with people saying, Hank, that's ridiculous. They're completely too high of standards. And that's okay. That doesn't make you wrong.
Right.
But it might mean that we might not be a fit, because as we grow, what happens is, John Maxwell says this: as you go up, you give up. Meaning, if you want to be exceptional, if you want to be great in a certain area or topic, there's a good chance that there's going to be a counterbalance where you might not be as good in other topic or other areas. So, Alyssa, go ahead.
I think if you go into this business, you have to be okay with not being best friends with everybody. You know, like, you're not going to be the prom king and queen every single time. Like, in my life, I've always been okay with having a very few close group of friends who know me, like, know how I roll. If I don't text back right away, it's not personal. And I'm okay with that. So when I take on a coaching client, I'm not looking for friends, regardless of some emotional things that we might come across. I'm not looking for friends. This is business. I'm looking to help you. And for me, those boundaries are very clear, because I went through a situation where there were no boundaries. And it broke me. You know, when you said enough is enough with the beach ball, that was me would that have been February? That was me. And it went, and it's because there were no boundaries.
It's ugly when it blows up.
Oh, man. Yep. And it spirals out of control very quick, you know, and I was contractually obligated, and there were some things that were slipped in. And all of a sudden, under contract, I had to do this. And I said, no more. This is not, it was taking away from my family. It takes away from your sanity. It's creating problems where there doesn't need to be problems. And you have to know when it's time to jet.
Well, and that goes back to what another one of my standards is: no one will ever have their thumb on me, which means
I will never do that again.
Or I might have to go a little bit slower, embrace the suck in a different way. So if you're liking this conversation, one thing that I love about what Alyssa's bringing is, one, she brings a little bit more feminine energy, because I know I can be the alpha male. Great emotional. She asks great relevant questions. So what we're doing right now is we're filming So You Want to Be a Coach. Over the last 4 years, I've figured out the process of how to go from a single person to build a coaching business where, I mean, we've made consistently over $500,000 a year with our different income streams. Sometimes it's more with coaching, sometimes it's less. Yet that's our target income range, is $500,000 to $600,000 a year, and have the highest net life possible. And so what you're helping us do is we've slowed down, and now we're looking to digitize this so that people can go through all those topics very quickly. It's not cheap, but I can tell you I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars and hundreds of hours figuring out how to save you from the stupid tax. So if you are interested in being an implementer, someone on the front end of that, we have a weekly call on Wednesdays where I think there's 6 or 7 of us that are in the beta phase of this. We're 30 to 60 days away from the official launch, because I took the summer off in July and August. I played a lot. And I decided net life versus getting this done. Our goal was to roll it out before Labor Day, and it just didn't happen. And here's why. sometimes we don't have enough patience and we try to like go, 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 go. And when I looked up, we just bought a camper. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to enjoy life. Everything that I've done in life has set me up so that I can have choices like that. And how many of you would like to have more choices? And if you'd like to have more choices, maybe you need another income stream that is recurring, that is one that you can depend on, one that is a very fruitful way of doing it. So anyways, I digress. Alyssa, we'll get off this video and let's take a 15-minute break, and then we will on the next one. Sound good?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.